The nation is currently experiencing a profound and disorienting moment, one that feels to many like a fundamental departure from historical norms, suggesting a state of affairs perhaps more fractured than ever before. The aggressive deployment of Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, and the associated immigration abuses represent a sustained campaign to cultivate fear and anxiety within vulnerable communities. Reports of indiscriminate arrests, the targeting of non-criminal immigrants, and operations near sensitive locations like hospitals have expanded the scope of enforcement, effectively militarizing internal security and eroding trust in governmental institutions. This approach, centered on cruelty and mass deportations, carries significant human, social, and economic costs. A deeply alarming precedent has been set by the use of federal agents and the deployment of the military, specifically the National Guard, sometimes federalized against the will of state governors, into U.S. cities for what critics argue are purely political or intimidation-driven ends. These actions, often justified by claims of quelling dissent or crime in Democratic-led areas, are viewed as a dangerous erosion of the long-standing democratic principle of limiting military involvement in domestic law enforcement. This blending of military and police power fundamentally challenges the rule of law, state sovereignty, and the civil-military balance, posing a high risk to civilian rights and democratic norms. Simultaneously, the administration's financial and political actions have raised serious ethical and constitutional concerns. The pattern of cozying up to billionaires and using the presidency for personal financial gain is well documented, with the president's personal wealth reportedly soaring during his time in office, largely through his brand and the influx of business from foreign entities and allies. This intertwining of public office with private financial enrichment, including revenues from his properties via taxpayer-funded stays and significant foreign deals made by his family's businesses, creates persistent conflicts of interest and appears to violate the spirit, if not the letter, of the Constitution's emoluments clauses. This financial self-interest is seemingly reflected in a legislative agenda characterized by enormous tax breaks that overwhelmingly benefit the ultra-rich, setting a new precedent for wealth transfers. Analysis suggests these tax changes, often coupled with proposed or actual cuts to social programs like Medicaid and food assistance, disproportionately harm low-income and middle-class working families. The result is a widening chasm of inequality, where the economic needs of the vast majority of the American people are ignored in favor of a wealthy elite. Amidst these political and social convulsions, the core physical foundation of the country, its infrastructure, continues to crumble, a long-term failure that compounds current difficulties. Despite widespread recognition of the decaying state of roads, bridges, water systems, and the power grid, political attention has often been diverted toward divisive social and enforcement issues rather than unified action on essential national maintenance. The failure to make sustained, nonpartisan investments in these critical areas highlights a profound inability of the current political system to prioritize the tangible needs and long-term security of the American public.